How's it going, everybody? Today we are going to be going over and previewing the U.S. men's national team's qualifiers for this window against El Salvador, Canada away, and Honduras. So in this video, we're just going to be going through some team news, what's going on in the U.S. men's national team camp right now, also my predictions on what Greg Berhalter will call in for the roster, any injury updates, and any discussions and big talking points going into this camp. So first, talking about team news, Greg Berhalter is holding a 20-man MLS only camp right now in Phoenix, Arizona. If some of you guys follow the U.S. men's national team Twitter handle and social media handles, you'll see that they are training almost every day as a sort of preparation camp just for the fitness of MLS players. As we know, right now is the off season for MLS. Their season ended in December, so as always with any men's national team roster, international break or not, there are going to be MLS guys called into the roster, especially with Greg Berhalter. He does have a core group of MLS veterans that basically have stuck around since the beginning of his tenure. So the main purpose of this camp is mostly to build fitness for those guys who haven't been playing for either a month or two at this point. And so 20 guys in the camp. Berhalter did reveal that in the camp there has been quite a few COVID cases. He doesn't know if they're going to be available for selection for the World Cup qualifiers. He didn't name which one specifically, but he has said to the press that COVID has hit the camp pretty hard. So that'll be interesting to see which players can't make it because of COVID. So just going through the list of some players that are included in that camp, some big names that we haven't seen before, such as Jordan Morris. He was in that squad against the friendly in Bosnia in January, and did actually one of the better players on the pitch coming back from his ACL tear. So he is a guy that I think we should watch out for being named into the latest World Cup qualifier roster. He's really been a mainstay when healthy for Greg Berhalter, so I will expect him to see the field, or at least the roster, for these next qualifiers. Some other big names in this camp are Gabriel Slolina, who has had a breakout rookie season with the Chicago Fire. He's drawing interest from multiple clubs in Europe, and especially from the Polish national team, where he does have dual citizenship. But I really do think his future is committed to the U.S. national team. So if I were Greg Berhalter right now, I would be bringing him in for the World Cup qualifying camp. What I think he will do is bring in Matt Turner, Zach Steffen, and then that third goalkeeper I think is going to be Sean Johnson. But I feel like if that were me, I would want Slonina to just be around the culture of the team and just get immersed into that atmosphere. So if he does have any feelings about playing for another country, at least maybe a World Cup qualifying camp experience would sway him towards the U.S. men's national team. Some other talking points from that camp are the inclusion of Aaron Long, who is coming back from a lengthy injury. He was actually included in the November roster, but not as a player. He was just there more as like a mentor to the other players and just to get him back into the mix in the dressing room. He didn't suit up or train at all, but now he is fully back and should be match fit. He said in an interview that he is aiming to be selected for the World Cup qualifying roster, and I'd be shocked but not honestly surprised if he was. I mean, this is a guy who hasn't played an MLS game in, I want to say, like 2 years at this point, so I think it would just be crazy to be bringing him in, but at the same time, I wouldn't put it past Greg to do that. Some other names in this camp are Kellen Acosta, who just recently moved to LAFC, Paul Arriola, who is basically a done deal to Club America in Mexico right now, also Cole Bassett, who's been linked with Feyenoord in the Netherlands. And some other names are Georgi Mihalovic, who a lot of people thought he should have been included on some past rosters. He did have a good season last year. And another name I want to mention is outside back DeJuan Jones, who plays for the New England Revolution. I'm actually from New England. I've seen him play a few times, And when I saw him play, I was like, yeah, this is a guy I think we should call in for an MLS camp. So I'm really happy he's there. Don't think he'll be included on the roster for the qualifiers, but nonetheless, great to get that experience in camp and just be around the team. So talking about some of the Euro-based guys now, some team and injury news. As we know, Gio Reyna has been injured for basically almost a year at this point, but he is close to return, but we most likely will not be seeing him. For the qualifiers, his manager at Dortmund came out and said that he's lost quite a bit of sharpness. So basically he's fit, but he's not match fit. And obviously they basically saying like, we're not going to release him if he's called up. It'd just be a poor decision for all parties involved. More injury news. Tim Weah is questionable. I don't think he's going to be making an appearance in this camp, unfortunately. He was really good. Basically the player of the camp in the November qualifiers for me. So it's unfortunate he'll be missing out, but we do have quite a few options at the wing now. Brendan Aronson is healthy. Christian Pulisic is finally healthy. And we also have some players coming back from injury. Like as I mentioned before, some MLS guys. Jordan Morris, Paul Arriola is fit now. And we also do have options such as Richie Ledesma, who just came back from a lengthy injury, who recently featured for PSV. Some other news is Daryl Dike. He did make his first start for West Brom, but I really don't think he'll be called up for this camp just because he's acclimating to his new club situation in the championship, and he has been having a few struggles staying fit. So I really don't think I will see him called up for this camp, even though he did make the permanent move to Europe. I just don't see it happening. I feel like at the striker position, Greg is just going to go for Ricardo Pepi. Jazzy Zardes, I think, will definitely be including it in this camp. And I really think that, although I would like to see Jordan P. Folk in this camp, I think it will be Jesus Ferreira who will take that third striker spot. If the roster is a 25-man roster, I don't see him bringing more than 3 strikers, especially when COVID really dwindles down the options for bringing in really a full roster to these qualifiers. But other than that, I think we expect the main core for this camp, Tyler Adams, obviously the captain of our team. He'll be starting at the 6 for us. He's been playing good for Leipzig under his new manager. I also think we're going to be seeing Gianluca Busio, who has been featuring quite regularly for Venezia. Even though they're struggling right now, he's been the main bright spot for them, in my opinion. I watched some of the games, and he's looked really good. So just going through position by position now for my roster predictions. So goalkeeper, we'll be bringing 3, I'm assuming. So Zach Steffen, Matt Turner, Sean Johnson. I would like to see Gabe Slolina, but I don't think we will, unfortunately. So going to defense, obviously, I think our mainstays have been Miles Robinson, Walker Zimmerman. I do think Chris Richards will get a call up here. He's been performing quite well for Hoffenheim. I do think John Brooks will also return to the camp. He's been playing quite well for Wolfsburg and getting competitive minutes. Berhalter did say we need fit bodies for this camp, so I do think he'll be back in the mix for this camp. So that's 4 center backs right there. Outside backs, Serginho Dest, his situation at Barcelona has been horrible, so I think now is a great opportunity to just bring him in, get him some minutes under his belt since he hasn't been playing. He's basically been frozen out by Barca, so I think it's really important he comes into this camp and gets some minutes under his belt just for his confidence, really, and for his overall match fitness. Another outside back who I think we'll see is Anthony Robinson, who's basically been a mainstay, and also I think DeAndre Yedlin will get in there. Over Reggie Cannon, I think Greg is going to take George Bello over Reggie Cannon just because he's preferred them as the backup outside back throughout qualifying, and he was in the Gold Cup roster. So I think that will be our defense. I also think Joe Scally, he's coming back from COVID. I think he'll be in the mix. When healthy, he starts for Gladbach, and he was here last camp. Didn't really get much field time at all. So I think he'll be back for this camp. Going to the midfield, as I said before, Tyler Adams, Busio, Kellen Acosta just recently moved to LAFC. He did come out and say that he wanted to move to Europe and he had offers on the table, but Colorado wouldn't allow it, which is horrible for him. I feel for him because he's been stuck in MLS for a long time now, and he's come out and saying he basically wanted to go to Europe. They wouldn't let it happen. So unfortunate situation, but he'll still be in this roster, definitely. The usual Weston McKennie, he's on fine form for Juventus right now. Scored in the Italian Super Cup final and also over the weekend in the Serie A. So he'll definitely be there, of course. I think Christian Roldan would be there just because he's one of the core MLS guys that Greg likes to call up. And also my other midfielder I think we'll see is Yunus Musa, who looked he's probably my second best player last World Cup qualifying camp. So he'll definitely be there. He's getting minutes for Valencia, which is good. He's healthy. So we need healthy bodies, so he'll be there. As far as our wingers, Christian Pulisic obviously will be there. Brendan Aronson, and then 2 MLS wingers in Paul Arriola, depending on his move to Club America. I still think he'll be there. And Jordan Morris coming back. I think he'll definitely be in the mix for this World Cup qualifying camp. I'm actually excited to see what he can do. I always rated him. A lot of people hate on him, but because he didn't want to move to Europe, but he's always performed and given his all for the national team. So I'd be happy if he was selected, and I think he will. Going forward to our strikers, Pepe, Jazzy Zardes, and Jesus Ferreira. I will like to see Daryl Dike and Jordan Pufuk, but I don't think they'll be called in. Josh Sargent has been struggling, form with Norwich, and also it's been revealed that he recently had a kid, so I really don't think he's realistically going to be selected for this camp at all. So that's my roster. That's a 25-man roster. I'm not sure how many people Greg will actually call up depending on COVID and things like that. Things can always change. So we'll see. That is pretty much everything we have to go over for this camp. Other than that, not too much in terms of big news for the national team. I really expect us to be taking at least 7 points from this. We got to win the El Salvador game, and I think we will comfortably. Canada, I'd be happy with a draw. Scrape out a draw there. Mexico couldn't do it. Mexico couldn't get a draw, so I'd be happy with a point there. And we got to get the 3 points against Honduras at home. Cold environments for all 3 games: Columbus, St. Paul, and Ontario. So hopefully our guys are ready and acclimated to it. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll have a great advantage against the Central American teams at home. So I'm expecting no less than 7 points in this window. Anything less than 7 points, in my opinion, is a complete failure. I think it's time to stop making excuses and just get the results. Push for that pot 1 seeding. Although it's a reach, we just got to keep pushing and going up the FIFA rankings. Right now we're in 12th. We're sitting comfortably in pot 2. And at this point, why not? Let's try to push for pot 1, which is rankings 1 through 8. Including the host nation Qatar. That's my preview for these World Cup qualifying matches. I want to see what you guys think about my roster predictions down in the comments below. If I missed anything, always let me know. I'm looking for feedback. Really trying to grow the channel in 2022 this year. So if you hit the subscribe button down below, that would be greatly appreciated. Follow my Instagram page, which is USMNT _forward on Instagram.